Coming to you live from the firstandmonday.com studios in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania, this is the fam.com podcast, episode number 6. Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on what time of day this podcast has brought all the boys to your yard. Yeah, we can show you how to podcast, but we'd have to charge. What is up? I am your host, Bruce Harris, and welcome to the fam.com podcast, episode number 6. You know, last week's show was kind of crazy. I had a lot of emails and texts and tweets at First and Monday, wondering what is going on with the Auburn caller from last week. Appeared he may have been attacked by some sort of goblin or creature underneath the catacombs of the Alabama University football facilities. However, I am relieved to report that he did survive. Turns out his name is Luke Petty. He's the guy from Alabama that called us last week and unearthed some shocking revelations about the Roll Tide football program. If you didn't hear podcast number 5 from last week, I urge you to go do your homework. Check it out. You will be in shock and awe. And remember, if you want to contact the show, firstandmonday@gmail.com is our email address. We are on the tweeters, as previously mentioned, at First and Monday. And you can also just hit us up on the message board, firstandmonday.com, for all things manly. You know, because the alternative is work. We're just hoping that old Lucas Petty didn't get in too much legal trouble. Now, speaking of legal trouble, there's a story circulating out of Canada about a CFL football player. Tyrell McRobertson III of the CFL's Thunder Bay Mounties was accused earlier this season of raping a young woman. He then pled guilty. He admitted to raping this poor young lady. However, due to a very peculiar law they have on the books in Canada, it appears that he might just be walking away a free man. To break it down, we have our own legal expert. He is a professor of law at Florida A&M University. Please welcome to the show, Professor Henson. How are you, good sir?
I'm doing good today. It's been pretty well. It's been pretty slow. Nothing major going on down here. Loving the weather.
Well, it is usually beautiful weather this time of year in Tallahassee. So, Professor, not too many people are even aware of this case going on in Canada right now, nor this curious law they have. Can you break it down for us?
Sure. Well, the CFL's Thunder Bay Mounties, Tyrell McRobertson III, has been accused of raping a white woman, and this has really caused some disturbance up there in Canada. And they've had a few problems and a little outrage, but while it's just still kind of breaking and all the details are still murky, it looks pretty good for Mr. McRobertson. I believe Tyrell's going to be able to get off on this based upon the mud shark law.
The mud shark law. Can't say that I've ever heard of anything even similar to that in the United States. What is the mud shark law?
Well, the mud shark law came about back in the 1990s. If you remember back in the World Series runs of the Toronto Blue Jays in 1992 or 1993, there's a center fielder who's Jamaican-born named Devin White. He played in 150 games in his first couple of years, and he ended up playing only 146 in his third year. That's 1993. In his fourth year, he only played 100 games for the Blue Jays. And part of that reason why he only played 100 games was because he was incarcerated. But the Canadian Supreme Court reversed his conviction. Now, Mr. White was convicted of raping a white woman, and the Canadian government looked into all the evidence, and they found out that this white woman had slept with other African-American males in the past. And since she had sex with one black male, she could never claim rape against any future black males. And obviously she wanted it. And this is not something new, and it wouldn't ruin her reputation. And the Supreme Court upheld, held the ruling. Well, the ruling Well, the ruling of the Supreme Court was that once she had sex with one black male, she could never claim rape against any future black males. And that's what they ruled, and they reversed the conviction on Mr. White. And he was able to go back and play, the rest of the season. And he only lasted one more year in Toronto before he went down to Florida. But it was an interesting case, and we spent a lot of time trying to get that conviction overturned, and he was able to return back to the court.
I think I do vaguely remember that case with the Toronto Blue Jays player back in the 90s. Now, how does this so-called mud shark law affect the CFL player? What do you think is going to happen to him? Does he walk?
Well, obviously, it's pretty early. Mr. McRobertson, is rumored to have slept with this black woman, and she's had relationships with other black males in the past. She is supposedly a clique chaser up in Canada. I understand, you're familiar with the term clique chaser. They like to chase athletes. Well, rumors are that she's already dated, 3 wide receivers and a defensive lineup. So I believe Tyrell McRobertson, is going to be getting off based upon this mud shark law, which, states that once you slip with one black male, she can never claim rape against any future black males.
Very interesting. Professor Henson from Florida A&M University joining us on firstofmonday.com. Can you see the United States of America adopting something similar?
We've looked at it. We've tried a few cases and haven't been so successful. We've had a lot of instances in the high school level here in Florida that we've been active in working on trying to get that law changed, and we've written several law journals on it. But, it hasn't been adopted by any state courts yet or any federal courts. We're trying to get that done. We've been active in athlete rape cases at the University of Miami, Florida. Some ones you might not have heard about at some of the other schools. We were also, defend Ben Roethlisberger. While when we kind of try to bring in that defense, but we didn't quite get there. Based upon the athlete, trying to get maybe just a general athlete exclusion. Cleat chasing law, but with that, didn't really come about. We were able to get Mr. Roethlisberger off for other reasons.
All right, Professor Henson, we appreciate your time today, joining us on firstofmonday.com and breaking it down. Your legal expertise is very much appreciated, and would like to have you back on the show next time we have a legal question.
Bruce, I'd love to be back on your show anytime you'd like to have me. I'm always here to help you out and give you advice and let you know what's going on with these athletes and the stories that go on. And if you ever need to call me again late at one night and you got a dead hooker problem, I'm your man.
All right. Not even sure what that means. But what I do know is that law probably never even would have come about had the Blue Jays not have won the World Series back in 1993. Man alive, the 90s was a great decade. In fact, that was probably the last time the Raiders didn't blow ass. Speaking of the Raiders, we have a caller right now on the fam.com hotline. We have a caller from the Denver area that wants to talk about the hated, in his opinion, Denver Broncos. Vince from Commerce City, what's going on?
Not much, Bruce. How are you today?
Doing excellent, bro. You want to talk about them Broncos?
Sure, we can start off. We're getting our first snow this morning here in Commerce City, so you know what that means. It's time for Peyton to choke anytime the weather comes down.
All right. Well, we don't get many calls from Raiders fans in that part of the country. Why do you hate the Broncos so much, bro?
How could you not hate the Broncos? Number one, their owner so far guiding since Bobby Aber is still the quarterback.
Thought that was Buddy Brisker.
Number two, the Manning family is completely classless, and God hates them so much that he gave their son Cooper Downs. I mean, what more can you say to that? Peyton can't win a playoff game. It's outdoors, and he has a fetus head. So I'm not sure what else you want me to say.
Vince from Commerce City with some strong takes.
Not to mention the fact that they run up the score on everybody they play. The Jaguars come into town. They can't even play.
God damn, Jax is a shithole.
The family is completely classless. Father Archie says that his son's not going to play for the Chargers. He's only going to play in New York.
Sounds like that's Archie calling you on your other line to kick your ass. You're certainly entitled to your opinions, bro. Let's talk about your Oakland Raiders, though. How are they looking? How's that new quarterback panning out for you?
So far so good. I think Terrell has great potential. Maybe Seneca Wallace potential in the league. I think Albert Davis is going to, did a great job over the years, over the span of his life, drafting players. It's just a matter of time before some of these guys pan out. And I think his son's going to do a great job as well. So, I think, as Raider fans, Black Hole Nation, I think we're really excited for what lies ahead.
All right, dude. Thanks for giving us a call on the fam.com hotline. Well, that music means it's time for the First on Monday Man of the Week. This week, we're honored to be joined by the Man of the Week live on the fam.com hotline. This dude's an interesting cat. He was a porn star. He's acted in over 100 different titles, and he has recently made the move from making porns to making barbecue. Please welcome to the show a man whose Twitter handle is @TheBoneComesOutClean, hailing from St. Louis, Missouri, Mr. Jaminski Boyle. Jim, welcome to the show. Let's start by you telling our listeners how this transition from porn to barbecue came about.
Well, you see, I was, hold on, I'm already out of breath. I started out in the Calumet region of Chicagoland, and down there I learned to love women of all shapes and sizes. Started out when I was 10, and I met my first love, my neighbor Juanita. She was half Croatian and half Cuban. She was a spicy lot, but I had a sexual promiscuity from a young age. I used to go about them parts and just, kind of touch every girl up. So that progressed to me, working my way into some circles, some hot circles, you know what I'm saying?
Go on.
I moved on from these hot circles to a natural progression of love and touching, which kind of worked me into the porn industry. And in my parts, Chicago wasn't known for their porn, they were known for other things, but sausages being one of them. But I decided to take my sausage to Gary, Indiana, and I planted my foot deep in the underground porn industry, which flourished in Gary.
Wow, I was not aware that Gary was a hotspot for the porn industry. I'll have to go back and rewatch some of my favorite titles. So, how did you get to St. Louis?
I moved over to St. Louis from Gary because I kind of developed a reputation there for, treating some of the broads a little nice outside the set, and kind of knocked up a couple guys' wives and significant others. And some of the Gary clan wanted me out, whether it be the Irish mobsters there or even some of the brothers known for busting skulls. So I hightailed it out of there quick like.
Okay, very interesting. Jaminski Boyle joining us on FirstOfMonday.com, former porn actor. What are some of the titles we may have seen you in?
Well, you may have seen me in Slender Thighs, Wide Guys, which was my debut piece because I weigh about 350 in my prime. Right now I'm up about 455. My doctor wants me down a bit. But besides that, you may have seen me in Whalecock or Huge Dicks on Fat Bricks and a couple other classic titles. I did one that I particularly loved, which featured a bunch of just gorgeous chocolate broads, and that was called Ride in the White Snake Chocolate Circle. Very weird title, but it was an abstract piece that I started in my early youth. We got kind of radical at times.
That last one I think I own on DVD. All right, so tell us about your transition to the barbecue.
Well, you see, after about 15 years of slinging my sausage inside of broads, I kind of lost my endurance due to the fact, there's like 40 pounds of fat in my arteries. So I figured I should move on to something a little more graceful and slow-paced. So I decided to take up smoking meats rather than throwing meats, if you know what I'm saying.
Roger that. So, what kind of style of barbecue are you cooking up? You doing St. Louis style?
Yeah, I like Chicago barbecue, but it's kind of a take on St. Louis barbecue. I mean, Chicago's got Sweet Baby Ray's, which is just some brilliant stuff. I used to slather that stuff all over my tack when drilling Brad sometimes. But that's besides the point. St. Louis style is very underrated, much like the Gary underground porn industry. But I decided to roll with St. Louis because there were a friendly community and welcomed me despite, the fact I was a wanted porn star. So I kind of learned some of their techniques. One of my favorite techniques is making ribs. I mean, just beautiful St. Louis style ribs, like 40, 50 pounds if you can. I mean, just throw a pig on there.
Probably wouldn't be the first time you threw a pig around. All right, so do you have any secret techniques for your excellent barbecue?
Well, everyone loves when the bone comes out clean. I mean, there's nothing better than when you can just grab that bone, shove it in there, and rip it right out. It's beautiful. So to get that just smooth bone removal, I like to boil the shit out of my rib. I'm talking not some slow boil. We're boiling these things like we're brewing a witch. I mean, it's a raging boil. And after that, we like to just let them soak in the water for a solid, 45 minutes to an hour. Enough time to maybe go screw some brads.
Wow, boiling ribs. I've never heard of that technique. Any other tricks up your sleeve?
Yeah, most people love just the taste of a sweet honey on their ribs, or maybe some molasses, or some sort of sweet brown sugar. And I like that too. But you know what else I love? Just straight up cane sugar. I like grinding that stuff up, and then I infuse it with lemon juice, lime juice, orange juice, and pineapple juice. I mean, it may sound crazy, but this Polynesian broad I talked one time said, "Hey, you just boiled my spigot, and now, let's see how this rolls."
Well, a wealth of knowledge here from Jaminski Boyle on FirstOnMonday.com. Jim, do you mind if we open up the lines? I know we've got a few callers that are interested in talking about barbecue with you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Bruce.
All right, let's do that. Let's go to the fam.com hotline. A repeat caller from a couple weeks ago. Young Money in Tuscaloosa. What's going on, Money?
Yo, what's good, my man?
Oh, it's all good up in here, bro. Do you have a question for our guest,
What
Jaminski?
in the hell are you doing, man? Who is this guy on your show?
Well, he's a barbecue expert.
Hey, Mr. Money, how are you doing today, Mr. Young Money? I'm a barbecue entrepreneur. I got 2 restaurants up in St. Louis. Come on up and eat one time. We'll shoot the shit and pull some bones.
Come on, dog, please. I wouldn't eat at your restaurant if one of my hoes paid for it. Boiling ribs, man? What are you talking about?
Oh, it brings out the flavor into the brothy water, which sinks in. It's kind of like making love. I mean, it takes a while, and it might be hot, and it might stink like shit, but in the end, it produces just suppleness. You know what I'm saying?
Hell no, I don't know what you're saying, dog. A Yankee-ass Jewish-sounding dude like yourself. You don't know nothing about no barbecue. You ain't about the dirty South. You don't know how we do it. I bet your breath smells like hot dog water with all that boiling and shit you're doing.
Well, I don't know about my breath. I can assure you it smells like fine poutine and maybe some old style or bush, but that's about it there, friend. I think we got to cut this guy loose there, Bruce. He's getting a little offensive.
You're talking about your porn career. How many movies you watch isn't a career, my friend?
Well, Money, I've actually seen some of his work. Dude's legit.
Man, Bruce, if you got anywhere near this fake-ass porn star, dude, you know it was in some gay porn if he did anything. I bet the dude smells like burnt rubbers and bull Vaseline.
I don't know about my breath, but I can assure you I've made some of the finest pornography you can see. And, Bruce, I think we got to cut this fella loose. He's getting a little offensive. We need to wash ourselves for this guy. Roger that.
Yeah, sorry about that, Jim. But Young Money from Tuscaloosa, thanks for your call.
Yeah, man. I appreciate the time, Bruce. This fake-ass, no porn, doing no barbecue, cooking, boiling-ass ribs, punk-ass Mark, man. I'll talk to you later. Out.
All right. Now, Jim, besides owning a couple of restaurants, I understand that you're now branching out and actually selling your own line of barbecue products. What can some of our fans pick up from your online store?
Oh, with the help of the internet, I'm able to send my products all over the place, and a lot of people love them. I've gotten some good responses. There's my great dry rub. I always like to rub it and just get it nice and deep in there. You just got to rub it out after everything, if you know what I'm saying. But I like my 50-year-old on a 5-mile hike dry rub.
Okay. Not sure what that means. What else is for sale?
Well, you see, we got the wet biscuit mopping sauce, which I just love. That's something I like to just slather all over any sort of meat I'm cooking. If I do a leg of lamb or something for some of my Greek friends, I like like to throw that on there. And then yesterday we got my She Was Wet Yesterday marinade, which doubles as a smoke-flavored lube if you want to get a little extreme with your ladies, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, Jim, I'm pretty sure I'm picking up what you're laying down here on the fam.com podcast. Any other exotic flavors?
Yeah, I like to smoke meats. Just smoke them for like 4 or 5 hours, and I teamed up with some entrepreneurs that were growing their own woods for smoking, and we came up with a way to infuse mesquite and cherry trees with various flavors. One of which was an aphrodisiac. It's called rhinoceros horn. So people can smoke their meats, and it's got rhinoceros horn in there too, and it just kind of jacks up that meat, rubs it in there with the smoke, and you get yourself some kinky smoke there. It makes you want to, bump some uglies.
All right, Jim, if you don't mind, we've got another caller that wants to talk to you about your barbecue. Actually, he's from your neck of the woods, from St. Louis. Tim from St. Louis, what's going on?
Hello, Bruce.
Yes, Tim, are you there?
This is Tim.
Yes, I know. Go ahead.
I'm on the air?
Yes, you called us. You're live on the air. You have a question?
I just wanted to say that I've eaten at your caller's restaurants.
Oh, okay, excellent. How was it?
It tasted like.
I appreciate you stopping by my places, but shit's kind of a harsh comment there, friend. Are you sure you just, between your appearances as the son on Breaking Bad, you might have bumped your head and eaten at the wrong restaurant?
No. It was your place. Tasted like burnt possum rectum. That's all I want to say is
All right, take it easy there. Don't hurt yourself, big guy. Thanks for the call. Now, Jim, Jaminski Boyle, I do not profess to be a barbecue expert, but from everything I've ever seen or heard, are you sure 4 hours is enough to really smoke meat?
Well, you see there, Bruce, the key's a very high heat. It generates a lot of smoke because you're constantly opening the grill and throwing more chips on the fire or the smoker. You're opening your door to throw some wood chips on there. But the key is a very high heat and constantly opening the door.
Okay, well, that certainly goes against common wisdom, but I won't knock it till I try it. Tell us about your rig. What kind of smoker do you have?
Well, you see, it was created from a giant oil barrel. We're talking a large one. It's not your traditional crude oil barrel. It's actually an old lube barrel that we used in the porn industry. It's about 75, 80 gallons, just for half of it, I believe. It's, cut in half, made into a nice shell. But either way, it's giant. It's got one door in the front and one door in the back. Because in our industry, we always like to have 2 doors to enter it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, always have the option of going in the back door. All right, well, we appreciate you joining us today. Now, where can people find your products?
Yeah, you could find my products, whether it be my rub that you just got to rub it with, or maybe even my sauces that you can slather that stuff on when you pull out the bone nice and clean. But you can find it at Fat Jim's Barbecue, which is FATGIM, because my name is Jaminski, not Jim. But, Jaminski's a little long. So either way, it's FATGIM BBQ .net.
All right, fatjimbarbecue.net for all your grilling needs. Well, we appreciate you calling in today.
Oh, no problem, Bruce. It's always a pleasure to talk with someone that likes to both watch people fling the meat and eat the meat that I've, stopped flinging and decided to smoke. So I hope you stop on by next time you're in the greater St. Louis area. We got a fine new location in East St. Louis. It's right under the police light. You can't miss it.
There you have our First and Monday Man of the Week. And it's that part of the show where we talk about the fam.com asshole of the week. This week's award is going to more than one, going to multiple assholes of the week. And they're not even human. They happen to be canines. Because it seems the LAPD's canine unit, they be biting everybody. Well, everybody except for white people, Pacific Islanders, and Native Americans. But if you happen to be African American or Latino, your ass is going to get bit. A report just came out that during the first 6 months of 2013, out of all the dog bites reported, the percentage of those dog bites that were on black people and Latinos, 100%. I mean, come on, dogs. Leave those poor people alone. They got enough problems without you trying to bite their ass. I mean, their day just went from bad to worse as soon as you and your cop owner pulled up behind them with the lights flashing. They had to get out of the car, let you sniff around and search it. They're sweating bullets, all right? They don't want to have to go back to jail again, right? They're still on parole. And then you go and bite them? Come on, dog. That's racist. You're profiling these poor African Americans and Latinos, all right? Profiling is one thing, all right? Veiled racism is one thing, but don't bite their ass. Come on, man. I mean, at least make it look legit. Bite a white dude every once in a while. You can't tell me some of those bodybuilders down there on Muscle Beach don't deserve to get bit. You can't tell me some of those stinky hippies out there peddling their weed on the corner don't deserve to get bit. And definitely don't try to sell me that those 4 white dudes at the end of the Lakers bench don't deserve to get bit, and bit again. Come on, dogs. I mean, get your shit together. I'm going to be watching y'all, all right? And if I see this next report come up and things have not changed, do not make me put you on the First of Monday Asshole of the Week a second time. Because if you do, I'm going to sell you to a Chinese restaurant. All right, now on last week's show, if you happen to catch it, we played 2 songs, a couple of tracks from a band, an unsigned band out of Medford, Oregon. They call themselves the Lake Saints, and I got a lot of positive feedback. It seems like a lot of our listeners really dug their style and what they were doing out there. So I did let the band know that, and one of their members, a Nigel Fremantle, he's the drummer. He's been nice enough to actually join us on the air today. Now we're going to play another one of their tracks because so many of you did dig them from last week. But before we do that, I would like to welcome to the show, first time on the firstofmonday.com podcast that we have interviewed a musician, Mr. Nigel Fremantle. How are you, bro? Nigel, are you there?
Yeah. Yes, Bruce. Yeah, I'm here. Thanks for having me, mate.
No problem. Thanks for joining us. Nigel, you are the drummer of the Lake Saints. Now, I find it interesting that you guys are hailing from Medford, Oregon.
Well, the thing of it is that we're actually not from the States. We're not from Oregon. We're definitely not from this town, Medford. Not that there's anything terribly wrong with it. But, see, we came over here to try to, live our dreams, right? We always had wanted to play in California. And so that's what we were intending on doing, but we had a bit of a setback, And right now we're trying to deal with that. We're trying to raise some funds to get our lorry back on the road. It did have a bit of a breakdown, mate. And once we get it up and running, we'll be heading straight down to California, and we'll be playing some pretty big shows there if we can get booked.
Well, after the response we got last week after I played a couple of tracks, I don't think you'll have any problem getting booked anywhere you want to. You guys have a great sound, and I think you've got a great future in front of you.
Oh, mate, that's great to hear. I mean, we love having the positive feedback. Right now we're really trying to sell some extra albums to raise the funds, as I had just mentioned to you. And We don't actually have a website up right now. We're not that too tech savvy. We're working on that. But if anyone is listening right now, driving around in their cars.
Well, this isn't live. It's a podcast.
Live? Well, okay. Well, if you've got any listeners in Medford or the surrounding areas, White City, for instance, if you can find us, we're usually on the side of a road. We'll be happy to give you a CD if you don't have any money, but we do certainly accept donations, and we would love a bit of help from you. Cheers.
All right. Now, I find it interesting, Nigel, that you guys, being an unsigned band from Australia, actually traveled all the way over to America just to play California?
Well, that's a good question, Bruce. See, for us growing up...
Were some of your influences from California?
And we're all... Yeah, I'd be happy to talk about my influences here, for you. That's usually a good interview fodder whenever you're talking to a musician. I can tell you've done this before, Bruce. Good on you. But yeah, growing up, a lot of us over in Oz were still really infatuated with the 80s heavy metal. A lot of I think what you call the hair bands, right? Right, and a lot of our idols. I mean, Motley Crue, the Dawkins, some lesser known bands that I really like Bang Tango.
Oh yeah, I love those guys.
Them. Yeah, they can really throw it down. Faster Pussycat. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they rock.
I think they're way more popular in Australia than they are over here, even to this day, mate. So we read a lot about those bands growing up and did a lot of research, and a lot of those bands came from Hollywood, California, and that's where they came up. And they played these famous rooms like the Whiskey a Go Go or the Viper Room. I mean, there's a whole slew of them, right? And so we determined that if we were going to make a go of this thing as a band, that's where we got to get to. Now, we know the scene has changed. There's not as much spandex. There's not as much eyeliner out there, and that's probably a good thing, right? But we still want to be able to play these rooms to say that we did. We want to go back to Australia with our heads held high saying, Mom, Dad, look what we've become. We went to California, and we played the rooms that we told you we would.
What part of Australia are you from?
Yeah, we're actually from Melbourne, Australia. I'm not sure if you've heard of it.
Sure, it's the second largest, I think.
Okay, you have. All right, very good. Cheers. And so that's where we hail from. And as soon as this tour is over, barring any unseen events for the good or the better, like us signing a record deal or being asked to play more shows in the States, we'll be headed straight back.
So after California... Straight back?
We'll be heading straight back.
All right. Well, as I mentioned to you off the air, we did play a couple of your songs last week. We got a lot of positive response to that. And with your permission, we'd love to play another one for the listeners.
Yeah, we'd love for you to play another track. In fact, when you rung me up off the air and told me all the positive feedback you had gotten from the other songs that you had played of ours, man, were the boys happy to hear that. I mean, we always love some positive reinforcement, mate, some positive feedback.
No worries, bro. You guys definitely deserve everything that comes your way.
Yeah, so we'd love for you to play another song. Now wait, but before we get to that, I did want to mention one thing, Bruce. I've been looking at your website, The First and Mondays. Not a bad site, mate. I mean, it talks about all things manly. And, in Oz, we consider ourselves a cut above the rest when it comes to, being a man's man. And, we're into our beers and our foods. And it looks like you guys have a lot of topics that would be very interesting to, some of the lads back home, mate.
Well, we strive to be international.
So keep up the good work there. I did have one question or, maybe like a request for you, if I might.
Of course. Go ahead.
Right. Well, I was looking at your website, and there's one section that's all about grilling and recipes, right? And some of the stuff looks very tasty. Some chap had on there about hot dog quesadillas. Not sure what that is.
Ah, yes, the famous HDQ.
But anyway, my request was, could you get any veggie recipes for us vegetarians?
Shut the front door. Your band's a bunch of vegetarians?
Well, no, the rest of the band, they're not vegetarians, right? But I am. I have been for many moons. And, basically it's
nothing political. I don't mind, the slaughtering of innocent animals. I mean, I'll punch a cow right in the mouth, mate. Right? I mean, I could care less about that. But it's for health reasons. I try to stay healthy, try to keep in tip-top shape.
Well, I can respect punching a cow in the mouth and respect your health concerns, but you got to get your protein in, bro.
Yeah, well, let me say this, Bruce. Even though I am a vegetarian, on occasion I will eat fish. All right, so you're like my mom worrying about my protein intake. But no, I will get it from fish from time to time.
All right, good. You need your protein if you're going to keep rocking.
Yeah, and let me also say this. Even though I am a vegetarian and I will eat fish occasionally, I've also been known to eat quite a bit of chicken. So, I mean, the protein worries, you can put those aside, mate.
All right. Well,
No
that's good to hear, Nigel.
And also, I'll throw this out there for you, mate. Even though I am a vegetarian and I will occasionally eat fish and have been known to eat quite a bit of chicken, I love steaks, mate. I love a good steak, a good rare steak.
Now you're talking.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have one at least once a week, when I can afford it.
Put some ketchup on it.
Right. Now, where I draw the line, though, because I am a vegetarian, as previously stated, where I draw the line is with pork. I will not eat the swine. I will not eat any pork products whatsoever, except for bacon or sausage. But other than that, mate, I am a strict vegetarian. And I don't expect everyone to see things my way. I say, you do you, I do me, and we'll all live happily ever after. But if you could get some great grilled veggie recipes up on that site, oh, mate, that'd be a game changer.
All right, well, we'll have to see what we can do for you.
Okay, yeah, so before you let me go, and like I said, I love the site, the first of Mondays. Keep up the good work. I think this a song that the listeners driving around in their
This
cars,
isn't
right?
live. It's a podcast.
Okay, that's right. It's not live. But I think your listeners might enjoy hearing a track of ours called Sacrifice. So give that one a spin, Bruce.
Okay.
Thanks for having me on.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Right. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Nigel. Nigel Fremantle, drummer for the band The Lake Saints, here on firstofmonday.com. Let's check out another song of theirs entitled Sacrifice. Enjoy.
As she lays before me, and she shows her act of kindness, she doesn't know just what she's doing to herself. It's like some kind of shelter. Some kind of shelter. Cause I don't need your sacrifice, and I don't need your signs from God. I saw her walking along the lamplit street, a million miles from herself. But can I ask you this question?
All right, another track from the Lake Saints, band from Australia that's currently stranded apparently out in Medford, Oregon. You see those guys on the side of the road, give them some help, y'all. All right, we've got time for one more quick call before we wrap up the show. Looks like we have somebody that wants to talk a little Baylor football. Caller, go ahead.
This is Daryl from Waco, Texas, long-time listener, first-time caller. Hey, son, my question is, why do you think that Bryce Petty is not getting as much love in the media, not getting as much Heisman hype, and just not getting as much exposure as the dang, he probably deserves? I mean, the kid leads the most prolific offense in all of college football, and I just don't understand. I don't understand why he's just not getting the love. So I don't know if maybe you can explain that to me, and hopefully this kid keeps on putting up the numbers, and he really gets into that Heisman talk. But in my mind, he deserves it. So hey, thank you very much, man, and I'm out.
Yeah, Daryl, thanks for the call. All right, well, here's the thing. The kid has put up pinball-like numbers early on this season, all right? But who's he done it against? True, he's averaging a 70 burger over the first 4 games, but, that's against teams like Wofford. Who? Buffalo. Who? Louisiana Monroe. West Virginia, not known for their defense, all right? He averaged 70 against all those guys. First team with the pulse, Kansas State, who's terrible themselves this year, he only gets 35 points. And looking at the rest of the schedule, which is your typical Big 12 fare, he's not going to have much problem with those defenses either. They're like sieves going through colanders, if you know what I'm saying. Secondly, it's not just about numbers these days to get the attention of the media or the Heisman voters. You have to look good doing it. If you recall, Andre Ware won the Heisman for Houston back in the day, and he looked pretty good doing it. Now, his successor, David Klingler, put up even better numbers than Ware did, but he did not get the same type of love. He didn't look as good doing it. No homo. And you couple that with the fact that there's, I think, a malaise or a fatigue that's set in with all these spread offenses and these high scores. They just don't stand out no matter, what your completion percentage is or what your yard per attempt is. It's not really standing out these days. And he's following up RG3 from 2 seasons ago who won the Heisman Trophy and look better doing it than Petty has done so far. In fact, RG3 averaged close to 50 yards a game rushing more than Petty is this year. You've got to do it with more than just your arm. You got to do it with your legs too. Again, you got to look good doing it. Speaking of looking good doing it, I'd like to thank all our callers and our guests this week. This was the FAM.com podcast episode number 6. I'm Bruce Harris, and until next week, be good, y'all.
I'll punch a cat right in the mouth.